The air felt thick with tension in the grand hall of Harmonia Station. Admiral Kate Lawson stood straight, her blue uniform crisp and perfect as she faced the semicircle of alien representatives. The space station orbited Proxima Centauri b, far from Earth but still too close for comfort with these talks going so poorly. "Unacceptable," she said, her voice firm but controlled. "Earth will not disarm while Zethnar ships continue to attack our colonies." Ambassador Zorvac of the Valtraxian species fluttered his gill-like neck flaps in what humans had learned was a sign of dismissal. His greenish skin caught the light as he leaned forward. "The Council has decided, Admiral Lawson. For the safety of all species, human military vessels larger than cruiser class must be surrendered. This is not a request." Dr. Alan Wright, seated to Lawson's right, frowned. He had spent 15 years studying alien cultures and knew when someone was lying. The xenobiologist passed a data tablet to Lawson under the table. The Admiral glanced down, keeping her face neutral even as anger burned inside her chest. The tablet showed proof of what they had suspected for months. Council ships delivering weapons to the Zethnar, the very species attacking human outposts. "Tell me, Ambassador," Lawson said slowly, "why should we disarm when the Council is secretly arming our enemies?" The large chamber went silent. The 6 major species representatives shifted uncomfortably. Only Zorvac remained still, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. "A serious accusation requires serious proof," he said. Lawson nodded to her aide, who activated the room's main display. Immediately, clear images filled the air above them. Ships with Council markings, weapon crates being unloaded, Zethnar soldiers receiving new energy rifles that matched those used in the latest attack on New Montana colony. "This evidence was gathered over the past 6 months, Lawson said, her voice now ice cold. "While we negotiated in good faith, you were preparing for our defeat." Whispers broke out among the minor species representatives in the viewing gallery. This wasn't supposed to be public knowledge. Zorvac stood up, his 7-foot frame towering over the human delegation. "These images prove nothing. They could be faked. The Council's position remains unchanged." Dr. Wright spoke up, his normally gentle voice carrying across the room. "We've included metadata and verification codes. Any species here can confirm these are authentic." He looked around the room. "I wonder how many of you knew about this betrayal." The Moldarian representative, a furry creature named Paltek who had been somewhat friendly to humans, looked down in shame. That was answer enough. Admiral Lawson gathered her materials slowly, deliberately. Her team watched her, waiting. 2 years of peace talks were about to end, and everyone in the room could feel it. 30 years ago, humanity learned we were not alone in the universe, she said. We were excited, hopeful. We joined this council believing in cooperation and mutual growth. She looked each alien representative in the eyes, one by one. Instead, we found politics, lies, and now betrayal. She stood, and the entire human delegation rose with her. Humanity withdraws from these peace talks effective immediately. Zorvac's neck flaps expanded fully, a sign of alarm or anger. You would risk war over this misunderstanding? The Council controls 80% of galactic resources. Earth stands alone. Lawson smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. We've faced bad odds before, Ambassador. It's what humans do best. She tapped a code into her wrist communicator, and the human ships docked at Harmonia began powering up. No one was going to prevent their departure. You've chosen to treat humanity as an enemy rather than an ally, she said clearly, making sure the words were recorded for transmission across the galaxy. So be it. The human delegation marched out, leaving stunned silence behind them. On the shuttle back to the main Earth vessel, Dr. Wright sat beside Admiral Lawson. That went about as expected, he said quietly. Lawson nodded. Did you see their faces? They still think we're primitive. They don't believe we can stand against them. The Valtraxians have ruled the Council for 1,000 years, Wright replied. They've forgotten what real competition looks like. The shuttle docked with the EFS Defiant, Earth's flagship. As they walked through the corridors, Crew members stood straighter, sensing that something important had happened. In the ship's secure conference room, Lawson activated the quantum communicator, technology the Council believed humans had, not yet developed. General Vincent Reyes appeared on screen back in Earth's Geneva headquarters. "It's done," Lawson said. The Council showed their hand, just as we expected. Reyes nodded, his weathered face grim. "Protocol firewall is already underway. How long until they move against us?" "They'll debate first. The Valtraxians control the Council, but they'll want to make this look legitimate. I'd guess 3 months before they authorize direct action." "That's all the time we need," Reyes said. "The outer colonies have been preparing for years. The shipyards in the asteroid belt are at full production." Dr. Wright stepped forward. "Sir, the Council truly believes their propaganda about us. They think we're still decades behind their technology." "Good," Reyes said. "Underestimation is a weapon we can use. Safe journey home, Admiral. Earth needs you for what comes next." The transmission ended and Lawson turned to her crew. "Set course for Earth, maximum speed once we clear the system." "Yes, Admiral," her navigation officer replied. "What should we expect when we return?" Lawson's eyes hardened as she looked out at the stars. "War, Lieutenant, but on our terms, not theirs." As the Defiant broke orbit and accelerated away from Harmonia Station, news of humanity's withdrawal spread across the galaxy. On most worlds, it was reported as a human temper tantrum, a primitive species unable to accept the wisdom of the Galactic Council. In the Council chambers, Ambassador Zorvac met privately with Supreme Counselor Thexra, the ultimate leader of the Valtraxian-dominated alliance. "The humans actually left," Thexra said, his voice a low rumble. "I did not expect such decisiveness." Zorvac bowed slightly. "They are emotional and impulsive. This works in our favor. Without Council protection, we can allow the Zethnar to reduce their colonies one by one." "And the evidence they presented?" "Concerning, but containable. Few will take the word of humans over ours." Thexra moved to the viewport, looking out at the stars. "There is something about their confidence that troubles me. No species has ever walked away from Council protection." "Because no species is foolish enough to do so," Zorvac said dismissively. "Humans will learn their mistake. By then it will be too late." On the Defiant, Admiral Lawson watched the stars streak by as they accelerated to speeds the Council thought impossible for human ships. In her private cabin, she reviewed the files marked Protocol Firewall, humanity's response to the betrayal they had long suspected might come. The coming months would show the galaxy what humanity could do when pushed too far. The Council had made their choice thinking Earth would bend or break. They were about to learn their mistake. 2 months after the dramatic walkout at Harmonia Station, Earth buzzed with activity. In the underground war room beneath Geneva, General Vincent Reyes studied the holographic display showing human territory and beyond. Red markers indicated potential Council strike points. Yellow showed human defenses. Green highlighted secret assets unknown to alien intelligence. There were many green markers. "Report on Protocol Firewall," Reyes said to the room of officers and specialists. Colonel Julia Martinez stepped forward. "Phase 1 is complete, sir. We've dispersed our fleet into 5 separate battle groups, each operating under radio silence. The Council believes we've simply pulled back to Earth." "And our shipyards?" Dr. Olivia Benson, her dark hair pulled back tightly, manipulated the display to show the asteroid belt. "Production is at 300% of peacetime levels. The new stealth technology is working perfectly. Council observation satellites detect only mining operations." Reyes nodded, his weathered face showing no emotion even as satisfaction filled him. For years he had warned that the Council might turn on humanity. Many had called him paranoid. Now his preparations were humanity's best hope. "And the special project?" he asked quietly. Dr. Benson smiled slightly. "Shield adaptation technology is ready for deployment. Tests show it can reconfigure to resist enemy weapons after just 3 hits of the same type." A young lieutenant raised his hand. "Sir, shouldn't we be attempting to re-establish communication with the Council? Perhaps with a new diplomatic team?" Reyes didn't answer immediately. The room went silent. Lieutenant, diplomacy works when both sides operate in good faith. The Council armed our enemies while smiling at our ambassadors. We need strength, not more words. He looked around the room. Remember, we're not preparing for war because we want it. We're preparing because the Council has already decided we don't deserve peace. On the colony world of Titan, Governor Samantha Hill walked through the seemingly primitive settlement. To outside observers, Saturn's largest moon hosted only a small research base and mining operation. This fiction had been carefully maintained for years. How much longer until it's ready? She asked the engineer beside her. The man, Pete Mason, checked his tablet. Another 3 weeks. Once the final elements are in place, the entire defense grid can be activated in under 5 minutes. They stopped at a viewing port. Through the thick glass, they could see workers installing what appeared to be simple communication equipment on the moon's surface. In reality, it was part of the most advanced planetary defense system humanity had ever built. The Council still has no idea? Mason shook his head. Their surveillance passes show exactly what we want them to see. Old equipment, basic defenses, a struggling colony. Hill nodded, satisfied. Good. If they come here, I want them to be surprised. Across the solar system and beyond, similar scenes played out. Humanity, forewarned by their own caution, had been preparing for this possibility even while sincerely pursuing peace. On a luxury starliner drifting through neutral space, Agent Daniel Cross sipped at a blue drink that tasted like mint and strawberries. The ship catered to wealthy aliens from across the galaxy, making it perfect for gathering information. Cross wore the appearance of a human merchant, wealthy but not outstanding. His companion, a 6-armed Jaxiri trader, leaned forward. Word from the core worlds is that the Council is split on how to handle Earth, the alien said quietly. The Valtraxians push for immediate action, but some of the older species counsel patience. Cross nodded, careful to show just the right amount of concern. And the Zethnar? Eager for war. They believe human worlds will fall easily and provide new territories for expansion. The Jaxiri's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. My people remember, when the Valtraxians were newcomers to the stars, they always use others to fight their battles. And if those others fail? The alien's skin color shifted slightly, showing anxiety. Then they bring their full might. No single species has ever stood against it successfully. Cross smiled. There's a first time for everything. Later, in his private cabin, Cross encoded his findings and transmitted them through a quantum entanglement device hidden in his luggage. The message would reach Earth instantly without any detectable signal. In the council chambers on Harmonia Station, Ambassador Zorvac received troubling news. The human colonies, rather than begging for council protection as expected, had gone quiet. Trade with neutral species continued, but military and government communications had decreased by 80%. What does it mean? Asked Supreme Counselor Thexra. Zorvac's neck flaps fluttered with irritation. They're hiding something. Our intelligence suggests they're either cowering in fear or preparing. Thexra finished. The Zethnar are eager to test human defenses. Perhaps we should allow a small operation, not a full invasion, but enough to gauge their readiness. A wise approach, Zorvac agreed. The humans have a small mining colony on what they call New Anchorage. It's far from Earth, poorly defended according to our scans. A perfect target for a demonstration. Make the arrangements, Thexra ordered. Let the humans learn what it means to stand alone against the Council. Back on Earth, Admiral Lawson met with Reyes and the other military leaders in the final planning session before deploying to her new command post. The intelligence from Agent Cross confirms our suspicions, she said. They'll test us first, likely at one of our outer colonies that appears vulnerable. Reyes nodded. New Anchorage is the obvious target. Captain Lisa Chen is already in position with the defense platform. On the surface, Colonel Garcia has his forces disguised as miners and construction workers. And the bait? Asked Lawson. In place. The Zethnar will detect exactly what we want them to. Outdated defenses and valuable resources. Reyes allowed himself a small smile. Chen understands her orders perfectly. Let the enemy commit fully before revealing our true strength. Dr. Wright, who had been quiet during the meeting, finally spoke. Remember, this isn't just about winning a battle. The psychological impact will be crucial. The Council believes we're primitive, emotional, and disorganized. The Zethnar expect an easy victory to prove that humanity needs Council protection. They'll get a very different lesson, Lawson said firmly. As the meeting ended, Lawson found herself alone with Dr. Wright. How many lives will this cost, Alan? She asked quietly, allowing her public mask to slip for just a moment. Wright sighed. Fewer than if we showed weakness. I've studied every major species in the Council. They only respect strength. If we don't prove ourselves now, they'll never see us as equals. Lawson nodded, squaring her shoulders. Then we'll give them a demonstration they'll never forget. On New Anchorage, Captain Lisa Chen watched her small team operate the seemingly outdated defense platform. The colony below bustled with activity, miners and their families going about their daily lives, unaware that they were now bait in humanity's first test against Council forces. A junior officer approached her. Captain, long-range scanners just picked up multiple FTL signatures entering the system's edge. Configuration matches Zethnar battlecruisers. Chen nodded calmly. Right on schedule. Begin evacuation protocol Theta. Get the civilians to the bunkers, and contact Colonel Garcia. Groundside. Yes, ma'am. Should we power up the defense grid? Not yet, Chen said, a cold smile forming on her lips. Let them come closer. Let them think they've caught us unprepared. The officer understood. This wasn't just a defense. It was an ambush. The first move in humanity's response to betrayal. The first test of whether humanity had made a terrible mistake in walking away from the Council's peace, or whether the Council had made the mistake in pushing them to it. Fleet Lord Kazur stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Righteous Claw. His scaled skin gleamed under the ship's lights as he watched the viewscreen. The human mining colony of New Anchorage grew larger as they approached. Behind his vessel, 20 Zethnar warships formed an attack formation that would overwhelm the pathetic human defenses. Report, he ordered, his voice a deep rumble. His second-in-command bowed slightly. My lord, scans show one defensive platform with outdated shield technology. The colony has approximately 5,000 humans, minimal ground defenses. Nothing that can threaten our fleet. Kazur's mouth stretched in what his species considered a smile, revealing rows of sharp teeth. Perfect. The Council wishes us to teach these humans a lesson, not destroy them completely. We will disable their defenses, land our troops, and take control of the colony. The humans will see the futility of resisting Council authority. On the defensive platform orbiting New Anchorage, Captain Lisa Chen watched the Zethnar fleet approach. To outside observers, she appeared calm, but inside her heart raced. Everything depended on timing. All civilian shelters report secure, her communications officer said. Colonel Garcia confirms ground forces are in position. Chen nodded. Good. Let's wait until they're fully committed. Maintain our current power signature, let them think we're just a standard defense platform. The Zethnar fleet moved closer, spreading out to surround the small platform and the colony below. On the planet's surface, Colonel Richard Garcia watched the approaching ships through a powerful telescope. Next to him, Civilian Director Paul Mitchell paced nervously. Are you sure the shelters will hold? Mitchell asked. Those are warships, not police vessels. Garcia's weathered face remained calm. The bunkers go half a mile into solid rock. Even if the Zethnar decide to bombard the surface, our people will be safe. And if your plan fails? It won't, Garcia said firmly. Captain Chen knows what she's doing. Aboard the Righteous Claw, Fleet Lord Kazur opened a communication channel to the human defense platform. Attention human colony, he announced, his translator converting his harsh language to standard human English. This is Fleet, Lord Kazur of the Zethnar Empire, operating under authority of the Galactic Council. Your illegal military installation violates Council directives. Surrender immediately or face destruction. On the platform, Captain Chen allowed herself a small smile before answering. This is Captain Lisa Chen of Earth Defense Force. We are a civilian mining colony with standard defensive measures. We have no illegal military installations. Our scans show otherwise, Kazur lied smoothly. You will power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. This is your final warning. Chen looked at her crew and nodded. Now. Her weapons officer pressed a sequence of commands. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the outdated defense platform began to change. Panels slid open, revealing advanced weapon ports. The platform's outer hull reconfigured, doubling in apparent size as hidden sections deployed. In space around the platform, the vacuum shimmered as cloaking fields disengaged. 6 human vessels appeared, surrounding the Zethnar fleet. On the Righteous Claw, alarms blared. "My lord," the second-in-command shouted. "New contacts, human vessels are uncloaking around us." Kazur's eyes widened in shock. "Impossible. Human technology cannot hide ships from our sensors." The communication screen reactivated, showing Captain Chen's face. She no longer appeared frightened or conciliatory. "Fleet Lord Kazur, perhaps. You misunderstood our situation. New Anchorage is not defenseless, it never was." On the planet below, the ground shook as massive doors opened in the sides of hills and mountains. What had appeared to be natural formations or mining operations revealed their true nature: weapon emplacements and launch bays for defensive fighters. Colonel Garcia watched with satisfaction as the first wave of Earth fighters rose into the sky. "Right on schedule," he said to Mitchell. "You might want to watch this, it's going to be quite a show." In space, Captain Chen gave the order that would change the galaxy forever. "All units, execute firewall protocol. Defensive positions. Only let them fire first." The Zethnar fleet, recovering from their surprise, began to reposition. Fleet Lord Kazur, his pride wounded but confidence intact, ordered the attack. "Destroy the platform, launch fighters against the human vessels." The lead Zethnar cruisers fired their energy weapons at Chen's platform. The beam struck the human shields and did far less damage than expected. On the platform, Chen's shield officer reported, "Shields holding at 92%, Captain. Adaptation subroutines are analyzing their weapon frequency." Chen nodded. "Return fire. Target their lead cruiser's weapon systems only." The platform's newly revealed weapons fired with precision. Beams of blue energy sliced through the Zethnar cruiser's shields as if they were paper. The alien vessel's weapon ports exploded, leaving it defenseless but intact. "Message to all Zethnar vessels," Chen broadcast. "Your lead cruiser has been disabled. We have targeted your weapon systems only, as this is a warning, not an extermination. Withdraw now." Fleet Lord Kazur roared in anger. "Continue the attack. All vessels, full offensive pattern." The Zethnar fleet surged forward, firing everything they had at the human defenders. What should have been a devastating barrage instead met advanced shields that seemed to grow stronger with each hit. The hidden human vessels moved with impossible speed, their weapons striking with surgical precision. On Earth, in the Geneva Command Center, General Reyes and Admiral Lawson watched the battle through quantum-linked communications. "They took the bait perfectly," Lawson said. "Chen is performing admirably." Reyes nodded. "The shield adaptation technology is working even better than Dr. Benson predicted. The Zethnar weapons are becoming less effective with each volley. Should we transmit the battle feed across the galaxy?" "Not yet," Reyes said. "Let's wait until the outcome is certain." Back at New Anchorage, the battle had turned into a rout. Half the Zethnar vessels were disabled, their weapons and engines destroyed while their life support remained intact. The others tried to retreat, but found themselves trapped by the superior maneuverability of the human ships. Aboard the Righteous Claw, Fleet Lord Kazur watched in disbelief as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled by what should have been an easy target. "My lord," his second-in-command said, voice shaking. "We must surrender. Our weapons have no effect on their shields and our own defenses are failing." Before Kazur could respond, his flagship shuddered as precision strikes disabled its main. "Weapons and engines." Captain Chen's face appeared on his screen again. "Fleet Lord Kazur, your fleet is defeated. You may maintain life support and basic functions but attempt to flee or fight, and we will disable those systems as well. Do you surrender?" Kazar hissed in fury, but saw no alternative. We surrender. As the last Zethnar vessel powered down its weapons, Captain Chen gave the order to begin broadcasting. The entire battle had been recorded from multiple angles. Now that recording was transmitted across all galactic communication frequencies with a simple message. This was just one colony. This was just our warning shot. On Harmonia Station, Ambassador Zorvak and Supreme Counselor Thexra watched the broadcast in stunned silence. What should have been a simple show of force had turned into a devastating revelation. Humanity was not the primitive, defenseless species they had believed. How? Thexra finally whispered. How did they hide such technology from us? Zorvak had no answer. For the first time in his long career, he felt something unusual for a Valtraxian. Fear. The Grand Council chamber on Harmonia Station had never been so loud. Representatives from 34 species shouted over each other, their translators struggling to keep up with the angry words. At the center of the storm sat Supreme Counselor Thexra, his normally imperious demeanor replaced by grim concern. Order, he finally shouted, his voice amplified through the chamber. We will have order. The room gradually quieted, though the tension remained thick enough to cut with a knife. The situation at New Anchorage was unexpected, Thexra said carefully. But it does not change the fundamental reality. Humanity remains a minor power that destroyed a Zethnar battle fleet without losing a single ship, interrupted Poltek, the Muldarian representative. His furry face showed no fear as he addressed the Supreme Counselor directly. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our approach to the humans. Ambassador Zorvak stood up, neck flaps fully extended in anger. One battle does not win a war. The Zethnar were careless, nothing more. The combined might of the Council remains unmatched. Then why has the mighty Council lost 3 more engagements in the past week? Asked a new voice. All eyes turned to Zosfen, leader of the Trelkari, a species known for their trading networks and political neutrality. The slender, silver-skinned alien rarely spoke at council meetings. The humans have repelled attacks at New Montana, Galileo Station, and the mining outpost at Tau Ceti, Zosfen continued. Each time with the same result, Council-backed forces defeated with minimal human casualties. Zorvak sneered. The Trelkari worry about their trade deals, as always. Credits matter more to you than galactic stability. We worry about backing. The losing side of a conflict, Zosfen replied calmly. My species has voted to establish separate diplomatic relations with Earth, effective immediately. The chamber erupted again. The Trelkari were the 3rd species to announce such a decision in 2 days. The Council was fracturing before their eyes. On the edge of Council space, Ambassador Linda Powell sat in a comfortable meeting room on a neutral trading station. Across from her, representatives from 7 species listened intently as she outlined the terms of the newly formed Terran Accords. Earth seeks partners, not subjects, she explained. The Accords guarantee mutual defense, fair trade practices, and technological exchange between signatories. Archon Velamor, an ancient being whose species had been under Council rule for centuries, leaned forward. Her crystalline body structure caught the light as she moved. The Council has controlled galactic politics for 1,000 years, she said, her voice melodic despite the serious topic. How can Earth promise protection against such power? Powell touched a control, and a hologram appeared above the table showing the Battle of New Anchorage. Because we've been preparing for this possibility since we first met alien life, she said. The Council believed we were sharing all our advances. We weren't. The representatives whispered among themselves. Powell let them talk. She had been a diplomat for 20 years, and patience was her strongest virtue. Finally, Archon Velamor spoke again. My people were once a proud civilization before the Valtraxians came. We have waited centuries for a chance to reclaim our independence. The Terran Accords offer that chance, Powell said. Not as our subjects, but as our equals. One by one, the representatives signaled their interest. By the meeting's end, all 7 had agreed to bring the Accords to their governments for consideration. Baki. On Earth, Admiral Lawson strode through the underground command center in Geneva. The massive screens showed dozens of battles across space, most small engagements but all resulting in human victories. General Reyes met her at the central planning table. "The Trelkari have officially broken from the Council," he reported. 3 more species are expected to follow within days." Lawson nodded. "And the Valtraxians?" "Preparing their core fleet. Our intelligence suggests they're gathering for a major offensive." Reyes displayed a star map showing enemy fleet movements. "They can't allow this rebellion to spread." Then we proceed to the next phase. Lawson turned to Dr. Wright, who had been studying reports from across the galaxy. "What's the mood out there, Alan?" The xenobiologist looked up from his data. "Shock, mostly. The Council has controlled the narrative for so long that many species can't believe what's happening. Their propaganda claimed humans were primitive, emotional, and technologically inferior. New Anchorage shattered that image." "Good," Lawson said. "Ambassador Powell reports 17 species now interested in the Accords. We need to keep the momentum." A young lieutenant approached with a data tablet. "Admiral, we've just received intelligence that the Zethnar home fleet is mobilizing. They're not waiting for Council authorization." Lawson exchanged looks with Reyes. "They're angry about New Anchorage. Fleet Lord Kazar was highly respected." She studied the tactical display. "Where are they likely to strike?" "Our analysis suggests Europa Colony," Reyes said. "It's our largest settlement in their region of space, and they believe it's lightly defended." Lawson smiled grimly. "Just like New Anchorage was lightly defended. On the Valtraxian homeworld, Supreme Counselor Thexra faced the High Command in their sacred meeting chamber. The 12 eldest Valtraxians watched him with expressions ranging from concern to outrage. "The Council structure is failing," Elder Moxthar stated flatly. 7 species have now declared independence. 12 more waver, all because of these humans." Thexra stood tall despite his inner turmoil. "The humans have revealed unexpected technological prowess, yes, but their territory is still small, their resources limited. Our core fleet can end this rebellion." "At what cost?" asked Elder Sevnal, the oldest of the group. "The humans fight differently. They don't seek total destruction of their enemies. They disable rather than obliterate. It unsettles our allies." "It is weakness," Thexra insisted. "They lack the resolve to do what is necessary." Elder Sevnal's eyes narrowed. "Is it weakness to defeat your enemy while preserving your reputation? The galaxy watches, Counselor." With each battle, more species question whether the Council truly serves their interests. Before Thexra could respond, his personal communicator chimed with an urgent alert. The message made his blood run cold. "The Zethnar home fleet has engaged human forces at Europa Colony," he announced to the room. "Without Council authorization." The elders murmured in concern. Such action threatened the very foundation of Council authority. "And the result?" Elder Moxthar asked. Thexra read the incoming reports with growing horror. "The Zethnar fleet, it's being systematically disabled. The humans are broadcasting the battle live across all frequencies." The chamber fell silent. Everyone present understood the implications. If the mighty Zethnar home fleet fell as easily as their expedition force, the balance of power in the galaxy would shift irreversibly. "Perhaps," Elder Sevnal said softly, "it is time to consider opening new diplomatic channels with Earth." Thexra wanted to protest, but the evidence was becoming impossible to ignore. The Council had made a catastrophic error in judgment when they assumed humanity would either bend to their will or be easily conquered. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched their information feeds as another Council-aligned fleet fell to human forces. Species that had endured centuries of Valtraxian dominance began to hope for a new future. The message from Europa Colony echoed the one from New Anchorage, but with an addition that sent shivers through Council leadership. "This was your last warning. The next Council aggression will be met with a direct response against those who give the orders, not just those who follow them." In her quarters aboard the command ship overseeing the Europa defense, Admiral Lawson recorded a private message to be sent to Earth. The Council is fracturing faster than we anticipated. Ambassador Powell reports 32 species now interested in the Accords. The time has come to offer the Valtraxians a way to save face while accepting the new reality. Prepare for my return to Harmonia Station. This time we dictate the terms of peace. 1 year after humanity's dramatic withdrawal from peace talks, the space station formerly known as Harmonia looked very different. Now called Concordia, its grand central chamber had been redesigned. Gone was the raised dais where Valtraxian leaders had looked down upon other species. In its place stood a circular table where representatives sat as equals. Admiral Kate Lawson, now wearing the formal uniform of Earth's High Ambassador, stood at the center of the chamber. The room was packed with delegates from over 60 species. Some had been council members. Others had been subjugated races with no voice. Now they gathered to witness history. 1 year ago, we walked out of this chamber because we refused to accept lies and betrayal, Lawson began, her voice clear and strong. We did not want war. We simply demanded to be treated as equals. Former Supreme Counselor Thex Ra sat among the Valtraxian delegation, his once proud posture now subdued. The past year had been devastating for his species' dominance. After the defeat of the Zethnar home fleet, 3 more major battles had demonstrated humanity's technological superiority. Each time, Earth forces had disabled rather than destroyed their opponents, broadcasting the battles across the galaxy. Today we signed the Concordia Treaty, Lawson continued. Not to create a new empire, but to establish a framework where all species can thrive through cooperation rather than domination. Dr. Alan Wright, standing behind Lawson, felt a surge of pride. When they had walked out of peace talks a year ago, even he hadn't fully understood how prepared humanity had been for the conflict that followed. Now he watched as former enemies prepared to become partners. On the table before them lay the treaty, a document that would forever change galactic civilization. 54 species had already agreed to sign. Even the Zethnar, humbled by multiple defeats, had sent representatives. Before we proceed with the signing, Lawson said, I believe former Supreme Counselor Thex Ra wishes to address the Assembly. A murmur went through the crowd as Thex Ra rose and approached the center. Many remembered his arrogance during the old council days. Now he seemed older, wiser perhaps. For 1,000 years, the Valtraxian-led council brought stability to the galaxy, he began. His translator conveyed his words without the usual haughty tone. We believed this justified our methods. We were wrong. The chamber went silent. No one had expected such an admission. Humanity showed us a truth we had forgotten. That true strength comes not from dominance, but from unity. Thex Ra looked directly at Lawson. When you walked away from our peace talks, we thought you foolish. We did not understand that you had been preparing for that moment since you first looked to the stars. The signing ceremony proceeded with each species adding their mark to the treaty. The new Galactic Assembly would replace the old council. All members would have equal voice. Military forces would be cooperative rather than hierarchical. Technology would be shared, not hoarded. After the ceremony, Lawson found herself on a quiet observation deck with General Reyes and Dr. Wright. Through the massive windows, they could see ships from dozens of species in peaceful orbit around the station. Did you ever doubt? Wright asked, breaking the comfortable silence. Lawson smiled slightly. Every day. But I believed in what we were fighting for. Reyes, who rarely showed emotion, placed a hand on Lawson's shoulder. You gave the perfect speech when we walked out. It changed everything. That wasn't just me, Lawson said. It was all of us. Every human who worked in secret for decades, building ships, developing technology, preparing for the possibility that we might need to stand alone. On the planet below, the former council headquarters was being transformed into the new Galactic Assembly campus. Humans worked alongside former enemies, creating something new from the remains of the old order. Dr. Olivia Benson, whose shield adaptation technology had been crucial in the conflict, now led a mixed species team developing medical applications for the same principles. Captain Lisa Chen, the hero of New Anchorage, commanded a training program where pilots from 20 Species learned from each other. Back on the observation deck, a young aide approached Lawson with an urgent message. Hi, Ambassador. We've just received word that the last holdout, the Kren Directorate, wishes to join the Concordia Treaty. Lawson nodded. Thank you. Please inform them they're welcome at tomorrow's session. After the aide left, Wright shook, his head in amazement. The Kren were the Valtraxians' oldest allies. I never thought they'd join. They're pragmatic, Reyes said. They've seen what the new arrangement has accomplished in just a year. Trade is up. Border conflicts are down. It's hard to argue with results. A small delegation of Zethnar approached, led by a young official who had replaced the captured fleet Lord Kazur. They nodded respectfully to the humans. Hi, Ambassador. The lead Zethnar said, My government has approved the Joint Defense Initiative. Our ships will join the Concordia fleet next month. Excellent news, Lawson replied. Your tactical expertise will be a valuable addition. After the Zethnar left, Wright couldn't hide his surprise. A year ago they were trying to destroy us. Now they're joining our fleet. Not our fleet, Lawson corrected. Our shared fleet. That's the difference between the old council and the new assembly. No species rules over others. Later that evening, as celebrations continued throughout the station, Lawson was approached by Archon Velamor. The crystalline being's form shimmered in the starlight coming through the windows. My people were under Valtraxian control for 700 years, the Archon said. We had forgotten what freedom felt like until humanity showed us it was possible. Lawson nodded respectfully. Your people's knowledge has been invaluable to the Assembly. We all benefit from your wisdom. There is a question many of us have wanted to ask, Velamor said. How did humanity develop such technology in secret? The Council monitored your world closely. Lawson smiled. We didn't trust easily after first contact. While we negotiated openly and honestly, we also prepared for the possibility that we might need to defend ourselves. It's a very human trait. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. As the celebration wound down, Lawson stood alone at the great window. Earth was not visible from here, but she could see the stars that led home. The past year had been difficult, with battles fought and lives lost. But now, a new era of galactic cooperation had begun. A message chimed on her personal communicator. It was from the Earth government, containing the text of her closing address for tomorrow's session. The final line caught her eye. We never wanted war. We simply refused to accept subjugation. Any species that remembers this lesson will find in humanity a steadfast friend. Those who forget will be reminded. She smiled as she read it. The galaxy had indeed learned its lesson. The mistake the Council made wasn't in fighting humanity. It was in forcing humanity to fight at all. When the peace talks failed, they thought humanity was walking away from peace. Instead, humanity had been walking toward a better kind of peace, one based on mutual respect rather than dominance. And that had made all the difference.